I'm Fire Prevention Officer Ken Kwong with the Sacramento Fire Department. I am now, I would say, the third or fourth string event reviewer for the fire department. Jessica Wong, who unfortunately is a little under the weather today, is our primary point of contact. Julie Pineda is our second stringer, and Jessica's backup. If you get to me, it's either one, it's during our very busy event season, usually February through October, or somebody's out of the office. That's how you end up with my plate, and I sit there and go, what am I doing? Just kidding. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of warnings. One, I have a really bad sense of humor. Please laugh at my bad jokes. Two, I like to move around a lot. If it's distracting, throw something at me. Just don't aim for my head. Anything else is fair game. Some of the things that we're gonna talk about today, and Julie's gonna jump in if I miss something. Things like, how do you come up with the fees? What do you expect you to put an event on in the city? We're going to talk about some of the more common things that we run into with our tent permitting process, food trucks, food vendors, and this is really meant to be an overall kind of approach to what we look at as the fire department when you come to us and say, hey, Ken, hey, Julie, hey, Jess, I got this idea, and I want to put a petting zoo in Land Park. I should have said that elsewhere. Thank you. And we'll stand over here. So let's start with fees. One of the most common questions that we get is, what triggers an inspection? And it's going to be, one, how many food vendors do you have? What is the expected number of attendees? And some of those inspection fees might also be called, or what we would equate to call a standby fee, because the number of individuals that you have at your event, for your overall event occupancy load, requires us to be there for the duration of your event. Some of the larger events, like what we see at Apertraw, the Hollow Fest, Pride, those are events that we're required to be there all day due to the expected number of attendees. We also have the review planning fees. And a way to look at it is, we look at it very similar to the plan review process that the city does. You get two plan check cycle reviews, for lack of a better term. When you start third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 12th, 15th, there are additional fees because it's either things have changed within the event scope, or maybe we're sending out an email, and for whatever reason, the member we're sending it to is responding or not giving proper information. And sometimes that's not on the event promoter, it's actually on the vendor. In certain cases, like with tents, we want to make sure that you guys are very much compliant. And okay, out of curiosity, who likes reading regulation for fire? Besides me, yeah, there we go. Like two of us in a room of one. 100? It's about on par. When we start talking about tents, fire and canyon department requirements, there's a whole bunch of regulations and statutory law that we have no control over. That is all done at the state level, also the state fire marshal and the governor's office. It's up to us to enforce it. So there are times that your tent company will come back to us and say, this is what we have, and we will create emails with them trying to get your event to go. Because ultimately, we want your event to take place for the vision that you have. We just want it to be safe. We want it to be compliant. Those are the two main things that we look for with any event. In general, if you have a tent that is greater than 700 square feet, or you have a collection of 10 by 10s, 7 or more, so 700 square feet, that's going to be what triggers the permit. Oftentimes, you might hear us try to drop hints to you in the event reviews. If you break up your section of tents and provide 12 feet between groups of 6, no permit. I understand it might be a little bit more effort on setup, but any event have like an extra few $100 to throw to the city? Nah. For the most part, any event that comes into the city that you want to have, and this goes for any tent, any structure or permittable size, whether it's you're doing an event promotion for a private company's barbecue or picnic, all the way up to 50,000 people in Capitol Mall, and you want to have 20 tents and things like that, that's going to be what requires us to get the permit, or you guys get the permit. And it's really, the onus is on your tent company to do it. The tent company should know and should have access to the application. If not, that's our unit email address for a special event unit. It's monitored by like 6 of us. So if somebody doesn't reply to your tent person within 24 hours, send us a reminder email. We get busy. Unfortunately, like 4 of us wear multiple hats. I don't like you guys, right? Who likes 10 by 10 pop-up? Cool. You do? How many of you have looked on your pop-up for the CPAI 84? Yeah. Please do not come up with a letter. State regulation requires that label be affixed to the canopy. It can be stitched, it can be glued, it can be spring printed. I will say this, if it is glued like this one is here, it will fall off eventually. Make sure you have it, and make sure you put it back on in a way that meets the requirements from the vendor. If it's not there, we can tell you guys to take it down. No amount of showing us an Amazon purchase or anything like that, any documentation is going to help that, unfortunately. This is an example of the seal that's supposed to be on every canopy and sidewall of your large temporary amendment structure, or what we locally call a tent. It has this F number at the very bottom in the scroll. That is actually tied to a state license that the manufacturer will get from California State Fire Marshal's office. And we can trace, based on that number, with the company's cooperation, the exact lot number, exact material came from. So if there's ever, God forbid, there's an incident at your event, that's how we trace it. Who likes bounce houses? You know, I get to plan one. Who wants to have one set up for me? Like, my retirement's in like 11 years. Can I reserve one now? No? All right. So bounce houses are getting to be more popular. And we're starting to see some challenges with them because they're starting to be made larger and larger. Such structures like this are still regulated by California State Fire Marshal office, and they are still required to be planned with hardened. In addition, the generators that supply power to the blowers that keep it inflated are required to have a 2A 20 DC hierarchy, which are within 50 feet. On top of that, if that structure qualifies as a large structure, so it has a capacity of greater than 10, you are required to get a tent permit, or if it's above 800 square feet. Am I going too fast for anybody? I've had a lot of coffee today. Nope, cool. It's a lot of information on the screen, and I apologize. I know that it is. In general, here's what we look at when we look at hot events. And let me ask you this question. Who's nice at the fire department or health department? How about whoever's not on site? Seriously, right? I have been to events where I have events cooking, you've had that fryer. And he's over here shaking her head like, oh, hell no, I'll watch. But I've also been told, hey, the health department has said I need to cook in an enclosed space to keep people from getting sick. And I'm like, I get it. I don't want you dying. A lot of cooking oils, cooking mediums produce grease-laden vapors. Those grease-laden vapors can coat tent canopies and sidewalls. Grease ignites at about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Do we throw water on a grease fire? No. Which means we have to have a fancy little Class K fire extinguisher if we're going to be doing any kind of deep frying or any cooking with grease-laden vapors. What that Class K does, it forms kind of a weird, nasty-looking foaming blanket as it to suppress the fire or extinguish that fire. I'm a visual person, so I like pictures. This picture was taken directly out of our hot food vendor handout packet. And it's a nice little setup for everything that you need going forward when working with your hot food vendor. If you would like to get a copy of our hot food vendor packet, I don't have any with me, but you know us, you know the key, and we can get you a copy. If you're an event promoter who's been through it several times, I'm sure you have like iterations going back to like 2007 or earlier. You can frame them, put them on your wall. The new thing that we see at events is the food trucks. Food trucks are awesome. You know, he's had like, yeah, I have like 5 minutes keep on rotation just for myself. Food trucks are awesome because they're already permitted by county health, right? And they're not required to necessarily have that same on-site health inspection. It's a lot easier to go for them, but for us, they create a fire hazard. A lot of times they come in and they get nose to the front bumper, the rear bumper. They have generators on the front that are running. They have a deep fryer that they might be running out the backside. And let's face it, they don't always have necessity service. They're held to the same requirements as a commercial kitchen. They have a grease extraction system that's required to be serviced. They have a kitchen hood extinguishing system that's required to be serviced. And if those items are not serviced, we can require them, we can issue what's called a stop work order and have them stop booking. We don't want that. We know they paid money to be at your event. But they also need to be up on their maintenance because if they have an event or a fire, their insurance company is going to ask for all those same documents. And as event promoters, that might be something to help us, help us help you, and say, hey, my fire guy is going to want to make sure that your service, make sure you get your servicing done before you show up the day of my event. Events have changed a lot from what we have seen from when I first got in the game in 2007. We're starting to see events that are taking up more and more footprints on public thoroughfare. Unfortunately, when we close the street, operationally, we may not be able to find an alternative route to an incident. So we still require a fire lane throughout the event. And that doesn't mean that you can't let people stand there, but we just ask for, we just tell you, no canopies, no cocktail tables, no chairs, no, we are not going to run over your chairs. We're not going to use our bumpers to push the tables away. Those apparatus cost about $750,000 to $1 million a piece. I think we have like 5 cents in my pocket to help out with any damage that I do to my vehicle. If you're going to have any bunting or lights that go across the roadway, the lowest that they can go over the drive aisle is 13 feet, 6 inches, measured from the bottom part of the swag to the ground. And that's just, we're not catching light bars, aerial ladders on it, anything like that. Any hydrants, fire department connections within the enclosure, please make sure we still have access to. We may be going to, it might just be an alarm call at a high-rise on Capitol Mall. We don't know until we go in and investigate. We still do this. It is awesome. Usually the hose that goes through the car is the leachiest hose the engineer has. And it doesn't matter if it's like a Ford Focus or Mercedes-Benz, it's still going to destroy the interior, unfortunately. And they're trying to get out before we disconnect that hose. It isn't going to happen. On this side here, we have this radius. And I know a lot of discussions and a lot of times when we're talking about fire department access, we say we can put the fire distance side to side in the fire lane, but I also need a turn radius of 55 feet outside, 35 feet inside. That's an entire swing from tailboard, from front bumper to rear bumper on how that apparatus traffic will be. That's why I need that, our ratio that law. We don't have the money for tillers. They don't really shave a whole lot of space either. Sorry, that's Dylan. It's not her. Don't worry. She's fine. Oh, that's a lot nicer than I am. A lot nicer than me. Most people are nicer than me. Site maps are very important to us, just like they are to you, right? It's your plan for your event, but for us, it is how we're going to look at your event and what we expect to see when we show up. So we require a California licensed design professional to help design or to design the event or make it come to life. Because one of the things that the design professional is going to be accustomed to working with is egress requirements. Egress, when you look at it in the regulation, is this horribly complex, convoluted, if then that state. That's it. By turning it over to an architect or a California licensed design professional, it eliminates all those concerns. Site maps need to have a legend, need to reflect the firelight. Show us what your event looks like two-dimensionally. When I go out, I can pull it up on my phone. I can say, okay, hey, this is what I'm looking at. Here's where I expect to see your stages. Here's your medical tent. Here's your fire hydrant. Here's your alternate load for your VIP area, for your beer gardens, for whatever you want to call it. I know what that is going to be, plus your overall site capacity. We don't set alternate load calculations. That is strictly on the designer and really back to the event promoter. And if you have enclosed, and like I said earlier, if you have enclosed areas within the event, please include those as well. We'll get applications for a cluster on Capitol Mall. I'm going to say, this is my VIP area, but we have no idea how many people are in the VIP area or expected to be. And we understand that when you sell tickets for an event, you might be selling a percentage over knowing that a percentage is not going to show up. But we have to have some idea of what we're looking at because those numbers drive a lot of the requirements. I am not that computer savvy. In fact, my 13-year-old helped me go with my iPhone today. I was able to come up with a site plan in probably 45 minutes to an hour, and that's me yelling, spending a lot of time yelling at Adobe. I'm sure there are easier ways to do it. I am not that conversant with Adobe, but even if it's just something like this that shows where my perimeter fences are going to be, what is the plot layout, where's my bounce house, where's my stage, where are my vendor? That's all I'm looking for. This gives me a rough approximation. We do get events that come in and they have all the architectural symbols and everything else, and they use all the standard design nomenclature for fire hydrants, fire department connections. It's nice, but we don't need it. This is what we need here. What we don't need is the dude who drew with a Sharpie on a paper towel. I had a lot of fun doing this one because they're like, hey, give me a map. We need a map. I'm like, all right, cool. Here's your map. So it gets scanned in, gets sent over the application, gets routed to all the departments. I know what's on it because I did it. I still can barely read it. If I'm going to assign, when the assigned officer goes out to do the inspection and to actually show up and permit your event, we want to make sure they have all the tools in the toolbox. That there are no questions about, yes, this event is good, or no, you're betting you can get 49 people because they take a lot of space. And then you add in your beer vendors. Signed. What businesses? And that's it on our end. And I'm sure I'll be around for a little while. If anybody has any questions, feel free to come up and talk. I am friendly, I promise you.